Dads, how did you realize your son was a mistake? I was at the grocery store on a Friday afternoon, just doing my usual shopping, when I got a call from my neighbor saying there were police cars outside my house. I froze mid-aisle holding a box of cereal like it had answers. She said it fast, panicked, like she was narrating a crime documentary in real time. I dropped everything, left my cart in the frozen foods section, and drove home like I was fleeing the country. When I pulled up to my house, there were 3 cop cars parked out front, lights still flashing, and my 16-year-old son was sitting on the lawn in handcuffs. I jumped out of the car and ran up like I was about to negotiate a hostage situation. One of the officers turned to me and said, "Sir, we got a call about someone breaking into this residence." I blinked. "Breaking in? This is my house." He nodded. "We know that now." Then he gestured to my son, who was sitting there looking like he'd been caught smuggling contraband across state lines. "Is this your kid?" I stared at him. "Unfortunately, yes." The officer explained that my neighbor called 911 after she saw someone climbing through my living room window. I looked at my son. "You climbed through the window?" He nodded, completely unbothered, like this was a normal Friday activity. "I forgot my keys," I said. "So call me, text me, knock on the door until a neighbor helps. Literally anything other than breaking into your own house like you're on a heist." He shrugged. "I didn't want to bother you." The officer cleared his throat, clearly trying not to laugh. "There's one more thing." He pulled out his phone and showed me a photo taken by my neighbor, my son, mid-climb through the window, wearing a black ski mask. I felt my soul leave my body. "Why?" I said slowly. "Are you wearing a ski mask?" He looked at me like I'd asked the dumbest question in human history. It was cold outside. I paused. "It's 78 degrees. He tilted his head, thinking. It felt cold. The officers were biting their lips, shoulders shaking, trying to keep it professional. One of them finally said, "Well, we confirmed he lives here, so we're going to let him go." They unlocked the cuffs, handed him a warning about climbing through windows, and got back in their cars. As they drove off, my neighbor came outside. She looked at my son, then at me, shook her head, and said, "I knew something was off about that boy." I didn't even argue. She walked back inside, and I stood there staring at my son, who was rubbing his wrist like he'd just survived a maximum security prison. I said, "You're grounded. 1 month, no phone, no games, nothing." He groaned. "For what?" "For making me look like I raised the dumbest kid in the neighborhood." He started to protest, then stopped, probably realizing he had no defense. We walked inside in silence. Later that night, I checked the window he climbed through. He left muddy footprints on the carpet, knocked over a lamp, and somehow ripped the screen. I texted my wife, who was out of town, and told her what happened. She replied, "I'm not surprised. Neither was I." The next day at work, my coworker asked how my weekend was going. I said, "My son got arrested for breaking into our own house while wearing a ski mask in 78-degree weather." He stared at me. That's the most 16-year-old thing I've ever heard. And honestly, he wasn't wrong. I'm never letting him be independent again.